Wo-Chien EX is probably a card you haven't thought about in perhaps the past 2 years. But there has been a lot of nice additions to make the core deck actually function pretty well. For example, since Forretress EX is a Tera Pokemon, we can use the Noctowl engine to help piece together a lot of our combo a lot easier. And even if we don't have the Forretress EX set up, we can use Teal Ogerpon to also give us a little bit of additional draw in the early game, while still enabling all our Tera synergies with the Noctowls and the Area 0 Underdepths. On top of that, we also have the Heavy Baton, which you can attach to a Wo-Chien, and this will allow you to preserve your energies after it gets knocked out, allowing you to either set up another Wo-Chien or put all the energies on the Teal Ogerpon, which scales based off the amount of energies you have. The other thing that's kind of neat here is Budew, who can help slow down the game if you were going second, and put some time in your bank while you try to set up your full combo, and Legacy Energy, which is a card that denies prize cards for the opponent, which allows you to remap your prizes again after you give up to the Forretress EX. Well, I don't think this deck is going to, win a regional or anything. I was actually doing surprisingly well with the deck. I think all the new changes put it on some level of competitive ground here, and so I think it is worth exploring just a little bit, even if I don't ultimately think it'll be super groundbreaking. But if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment down below, and subscribe. And also make sure to check the post on my page. I'm going to be doing a giveaway for a shiny Mew from Paul Day of Fates. So if you're interested in joining that giveaway, make sure to check out that post. But otherwise, enjoy. Alrighty, getting started with the first game here. I will say that this deck is very exciting. It was very cool. There was a couple games where things didn't go exactly my way, which is mostly just say I had an okay, whatever, turn one, and couldn't follow up off of it. But low-key, the deck kind of surprised me, like I was saying in the intro. I was not expecting it to do as well as it did. Mostly just because I didn't have very much faith in Wo-Chien. But honestly, with the tools that we have, it's really nice, especially the Heavy Baton, as we're going to see in a couple of these upcoming games. The Heavy Baton is really what carries it. So, yeah, we are going to go ahead and pass it over. My opponent has a Mimikyu in the active, which would normally scare me, but thankfully with the Fan Rotom, we don't have to worry too much about it. And even if the Fan Rotom was scary, we also have the Wo-Chien's attack to just snipe in the backline anyway, so we're not really worried about too much regardless. I also go ahead and drop the Toad out here, which does mean that they are playing the Getter deck. I don't have to be too scared about this, because I actually feel like we have a decent matchup in this. One, because they can't do the flip turn lock against me, and two, we have at least 3 Jet Energies in the deck, so we have quite a few ways of actually circumventing around this issue, which I think is good. And other than that, we can snipe around the Mimikyu. I feel like there's not a whole lot the opponent can do here. And so while they're going to struggle to set up here, we're actually kind of rolling, as I mean, we'll take the first prize with the Rotofan here. I'm really valuing having the Rotofan just because it's so nice to have an alternate attacker, and having the one prize option, the Fan, is so good. Anyways, here we're going to pull out the Wo-Chien and probably jump scare the opponent. They're probably not expecting to to lose their Crocodile this turn, but thanks to the sniping ability of Wo-Chien here, we are going to be able to just pop our Forretress away, add a bunch of cards here, and get going. Life is also still really buggy right now when it comes to, Forretress EX and Heavy Baton. How it works for me is that you can attach the first energy easily, and then the next 2 energies that you attach will double attach. So if you want to only put 4 energies on the Wo-Chien, make sure you're attaching somewhere else first. It sucks that we have to do this, but I just figured I'd give you guys a heads up, because it took me a little bit to figure out what the hell was going off with all these guys. Then we also have the opponent trying to set up here, but they're still struggling a lot, and even if they have the Mimikyu in the active, there's not a whole lot they can do against me, as I'm sitting pretty with my perfect win condition. And that deck typically doesn't play Boss's Orders. They can play at Boss's Orders, but they're mostly reliant on Counter Catcher. So if they don't have a way to, boss my Wo-Chien out of the active, then I'm in a good spot, and I'm just going to be able to pry into this Crocodile and into this Toadscruel super easily before our opponent ever gets a chance to set up. I'm also going to go ahead and grab the Bravery Charm just to protect my Rotom on the bench, because it might become Munkidori fodder in the future if they ever get to that point. So I don't want to like prevent them from taking an easy prize that way if you know, I'm able to. One thing that's really cool about the Heavy Baton as well is you actually have options who to pass it to. Like, you don't always have to pass it off to another Wo-Chien, which, although that is nice, like, passing it off the Ogerpon is kind of neat, because then you're going to get a shit ton of damage pumped into it. You'll be adding 90 damage to whatever its damage cap already is at the moment, and it usually just passively sucks up a few energies anyways. We are already 9 energies, which, you know, isn't a whole lot after you've used the Forretress bomb afterwards, but it does add up throughout the match. It just gives you, you know, just a little bit of draw, a little bit extra consistency, which is good. My opponent is going to continue to Iono and just struggle to, you know, get anything going. And they have so many Pokemon on the bench that I could just go ahead and snipe around it, never having to worry about this Mimikyu in the first place. Though, even if the Mimikyu was a problem, I still have the Fan Rotom as an option to just go ahead and snipe it. Or, not snipe it, but knock it out. And my opponent is also going to have the Luxurious Cape on the Relicanth here, which is a little bit sketchy, but it's fine, it's fine. I'm going to go ahead and toss my Ogerpon here, mostly because it gives me the option to Night Stretcher for an energy, and normally what you should be doing here is just retreating and killing with the Rotom Fan, but I make a mistake and realize, oh shit, I'm not doing enough damage to kill the Relicanth, and so they're going to go ahead and get a free knockout here. But I really can't do much after this, as I'm able to just send in my own Rotom, and knowing that they don't play Lost Vacuum, like, it's just over for them. I can just take out the Mimikyu and be done with the game. Even if they went into, like, Munkidori, I'm not expecting them to be able to hold this off here, as getting the Colress here is actually going to seal the deal as well. I can go ahead and just grab, what am I doing? I could have just grabbed the Legacy Energy and attacked the Teal Mask. Okay, so I'm double throwing here. First off, I should have attacked the Rotom Fan earlier. Second of all, I should have just grabbed the Legacy Energy here and attacked the Teal Mask. So forgive me for being a dumbass. I think this was literally my first game of the deck, which really isn't an excuse, but I thought I'd mention it. Thankfully, we did grab the Jet Energy, so we're just going to go ahead and scoop this one up as we Jet Energy and kill the Munkidori. Very poorly played at the end there, but honestly, you know, Wo-Chien carried me through the whole match, so I guess I'm allowed to play a bit dumb. This is definitely what we call a Wo-Chien moment. Anyways, we are finally moving on to the second game here. I do want to mention that the early game setup is kind of like the hardest part of the deck here, because you're kind of making a tall order and asking like what you need, because you want both Fan Rotom, Pineco for sure, and then sometimes you want the Teal Mask Ogerpon, because the Teal Mask Ogerpon is what's going to get you into the Forretress. On top of that, like, it helps to set up a few energies in play anyways, so you have a lot of things that you're kind of striving for in these matchups here, which I think makes it extremely difficult. But it's not the end of the world, as we do run quite a hefty amount of searching options. So I think like the ability for you to constantly get set up is really nice. And I think having the mix of the Arvins and the Colresses is kind of neat, because you run the one Artazon, which will allow you to very easily get your game set up here. I'm going to go ahead and just attach an energy and go into my Budew and just pressure them with the item block here, because I think if I'm able to deny them from like further setup, then this could be really strong, as I could perhaps get like a Wo-Chien going and snipe the Charmeleon. Opponent plays a fucking Candela, I believe, which is an absurdly insane card to be playing in this situation. You know, I don't know what my opponent is doing too much on the other side, but it is a Charizard, which could be a little scary, only if not for cards like Radiant Charizard or Pidgeot slowly disrupting me throughout the whole game. But otherwise, we hit Charizard for weakness, which is probably one of the better selling points, is that you get that nail somebody face for weakness, and also like one-shot a lot of threats too. Wo-Chien's ability to do 220 damage every turn is really, really nice and appreciated. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and finally get the Wo-Chien set up here. I'm going to toss the Legacy Energy on it as well, because I really want to slow down my opponent's ability to take prizes in this matchup, as I'm already going to be forfeiting one at the very beginning of the match, and I don't want them to, like, get insane amount of value out of it and sweep the game super easily. We're also going to go ahead and get the Heavy Baton onto it, which is extremely relevant and important because it will allow us to what's it called? It allows us to preserve a lot of these energies onto the next Wo-Chien, and even perhaps even later pass it again onto the Ogerpon. But we'll just go ahead and swing and take down the Rotom. I'm not really too scared about letting them have the Charizard at this exact moment, because with the Heavy Baton, I can easily pass it on to my Wo-Chien in the back, and then my Ogerpon is basically ready to attack anyways, with the Grass Energy in my hand, but also like the Colress to perhaps search out another Grass Energy that was still in my deck. So, you know, we're kind of saying good here. The only thing I'm looking for is basically more 2-prize Pokemon, as they're going to go ahead and probably evolve into Charizard here and get even more set up. That said, my opponent does have Litten down, which can be a little bit scary if they get Incineroar set up. I know that guy is extremely bulky, and he's one of those guys that can actually threaten a lot of my Grass-type Pokemon without being threatened back. So, you know, it is what it is. Thankfully, with the Legacy Energy here, we are going to mess up the opponent's prize mapping here, and I'm going to go ahead and just throw my Ogerpon right here. The reason for this is that I think it's going to have a harder time to get a knockout against like a Pidgeot or an Incineroar, and so I'd much rather just leave the option for my Wo-Chien to snipe further down the line, which is why I'm going down this route instead. And we'll go ahead and take the knockout here, Myriad Leaf Shower, just take 2 more prizes, and now I'm just trying to see like where else I can go from here. If my opponent manages to knock this out, I can possibly switch into a different Pokemon and keep them stalled out for a little bit while Wo-Chien snipes on the bench. But otherwise, like, I'm just hoping for a clean transition to the end game. They also don't have the Pidgeot here, which is like kind of what I was low-key hoping for, because they have the Pidgeot that would allow me to perhaps one-shot it. But they actually don't attack me anyways, so I'm in a good spot. I'm just trying to figure out if I want to set myself up even further here, but I can't think of any cards in my deck that I'd want to be grabbing at this exact moment to keep the game going. I should maybe consider using the Arven to grab the Heavy Baton, because if I put the Heavy Baton on the Wo-Chien in the back, then I can pass all the energies onto the Teal mask in front of me, and that will give me the option to take a bigger one-shot by having all those energies stacked up on the one Pokemon. But, you know, it's not going to matter. They're going to go ahead and one-shot my Ogerpon, and thanks to the Legacy Energy we played earlier, the Wo-Chien is going to be able to just come in afterwards and take the knockout with 1 prize remaining. If I really wanted to, I could have sniped on the bench, but also having the active for 440 damage is really funny. So, it's just so amusing, because I played this deck, and I thought it was bad. I went like 5-1 with it. Which I know wasn't like a huge sample size, but it was just like performing way better than I thought. The only 2 games I didn't include were just because like I bricked the opponent super early and it dragged out for way too long. I didn't want to commentate over a match where I'm just like, and then here's the opponent putting down 1 Dreepy, and then I don't do anything, and then they also don't do anything. Like the game's just sort off too slow, but alas. We are going to go ahead and get our dream set up here once again with the Pineco, the double Hoothoot, and the Teal mask Ogerpon in play, and even save another Wo-Chien ahead. I am a little bit worried because I only have 1 Noctowl to work off of here, and so I'm trying to figure out what I would need. It would likely have to be like a Tera Orb and maybe an Arven, because I'd like to be able to get Heavy Baton onto my bench guy here. One nice thing about Wo-Chien is he does not have their ability, so he does not need to worry about Mr. Cornerstone over here. And because we have other cards in the deck that can get around the Mimikyu, like, I'm not too worried about this at all. So we are going to go ahead, explode. I'll put 1 energy on my Hoothoot so I can retreat, and then dump the other 4 onto the Wo-Chien in the back here. We're giving the opponent surprises, but that isn't going to matter, as we're going to go ahead and Iono them down to even less cards in their hand than they had before, so that's cool. And because we hit the Wo-Chien or hit with that Cornerstone for weakness, we're going to completely and dastardly overkill it. And now, I don't know if you remember in the beginning of the match when the opponent mulliganed, but the opponent happened to be mulliganing Dracloaks and, you know, Dreepy pieces, so right now, they honestly can't even set up anything here. If they don't get like more than 1 Dreepy down, then that's gonna suck for them. Also, they could grab a Buddy-Buddy Poffin if they have it, and try to go from there. But even then, like, they need an aggressive setup, to get past that point. And they honestly aren't going to even Buddy-Buddy Poffin TEFs. They're only going to be able to Nest Ball for that and get their Deluxe Ball, I guess. So really not a great spot for my opponent here, as I'm going to be able to very easily just snake the Drippy on the bench. I did think about pre-attaching an energy to my Rotom here, which probably would have been a good call, because this would prevent like Iono from breaking me, but I kind of thought I had enough cards in my deck that would bail me out of the situation, between the extra energies, the Colress that could grab an energy, and the Arven that could grab a Night Stretcher. Like, I figured I was fine. And it turns out I will be, because I will be going ahead, moving to Wo-Chien, and then attaching Legacy Energy for knockout. So honestly, a really funny deck. But yeah, I mean, if you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, comment down below, and subscribe. If you comment down below, and then also comment on my community post, you'll be entered to the giveaway for the Shiny Mew, US only. But yeah, other than that, you guys have a good night, and I'll be seeing you guys around. Peace.